and that's Causeway, the Jennifer Lawrence comeback film. Uh, Premiered at Toronto 2022 International Film Fest back in September. Um, Been a while, I feel like, since I really was like tuned into like a Jennifer Lawrence movie, But I
Mhm.
knew this was coming. I knew that this movie was out there. After seeing it, I was pretty like, okay, it's a step
Mm.
in the right direction for J Law. Overall, thought it was an okay movie, but more than anything, I think just seeing her like being in a movie that was like competent and like felt like it was really like letting her showcase more than just being like, I don't know, really pretty is really
Mhm.
nice. So I don't know. I enjoyed Causeway, didn't love it. What about you?
Yeah, I also had been anticipating this. This used to be known as Red, White, and Water and had kind of been on the radar for a while. They actually filmed this way back in 2019, perhaps the last like pre-pandemic movie to actually come out. Quite the wait. Um, the directorial debut from Leela Neubauer, who is a theater director, and Jennifer Lawrence also was one of the producers on this too, and she did a lot of press about in the lead up to Causeway about how she was really invested in taking that next step in her career and making more pointed and specific choices about the role she was taking on. It seems like she's none too interested in the franchise game she played for a while, or even stuff like a Passengers, which he's kind of openly knocked at this point. But Causeway, which is on Apple TV Plus now, I think it's like a pretty solid movie. Like it's effective film, but it's also just so like small in scope, and the drama of its plot is also quite reined in. So there's only like so many moments to wow you. I think Jennifer and Brian Tyree Henry both both great. They always are, but it's just one of those scripts, one of those films that's quite reined in. Not that there's not good things about it, but it's not a showy movie.
Definitely not a showy movie. More toned back and intentional. And just to clean something up, we did see J Law with "Don't Look Up"
Yeah.
last December, but
Her
another
first like
movie.
vehicle in a while, though.
Yeah, and another movie where she's, I think, intentionally playing a specific type of character that's a
Hmm.
little bit more about the character and less just about like J Law's star power.
Hmm.
And I really give her credit because I think the themes that Causeway is trying to get across are meaningful and important. This is set back in the 2000s, after 9/11. Um, eh, Back in down in NOLA, so we get a New Orleans feel, which I actually thought this was like a pretty like nice New Orleans movie.
Hmm.
It didn't have to showcase all the like showy parts of it. I mean, you see the
Yeah.
Mercedes Benz Dome in the beginning, but other than that, like
Residential New Orleans, not Bourbon Street.
exactly. And I thought that was pretty nice. Um, and I really feel like what made this movie so compelling was just that you get two really strong performances from Tyree Henry and Lawrence here, and I think their friendship, their on screen chemistry, was really strong and never like there's the scene near the end where they share a kiss and it kind of leads to like this fight between them.
Hmm.
Up to that point, I was just kind of enjoying being with their relationship and their respect for each other as people who are really like trying to deal with their grief and their trauma in different ways. And that part of the movie actually like kind of just felt like they like threw it in. Like I understand where they were kind of going for, it, and it leads to like the moment where Jay Law says like I just felt so bad for you thing, which I think is
Ugh, tough.
supposed to, yeah, that was really tough to sit through, but effective for the movie. And yeah, I think I just kind of left being like two good actors just kind of doing what two good actors do, and I really enjoyed that.
Hmm. Yeah, I think there's only so much to really like latch on to. Brian Tyree Henry, he had been doing more franchisey stuff lately. Like he was in Bullet Train, Eternals, kind of getting some bags. But he's always been good, and this kind of reminds me of like Brian Tyree Henry in If Beale Could Talk, where he is just
Mm.
a strong presence all the time. I think he nailed the like deep South accent, the Bayou Southern accent. By the way, like the vocals, he was the words, the word he's laying down on that sounded great. Um, but yeah, I mean, I think like it's a movie about trauma and grief, and these people both coming from like really tough experiences in their lives. Lawrence's character, a traumatic brain injury, like, and yet it's not like one of those movies with some of the more cliche like blow up scenes. It doesn't have that. So I think you just kind of have to sit there with those performances and just kind of be with that relationship, because that's really all this movie is those two characters coming into each other's lives and through ups and downs kind of helping each other progress in their lives. So um I mean, shout out Apple, I guess. It's a nice movie to have to pick up, and looking forward to Lawrence doing more stuff like this and just kind of showcasing and reminding everyone just how talented she actually is when she's actually like with some like strong material.
Yeah, I completely agree. I I have to say, probably the moment that I found to be most emotionally like moving was the scene between uh, Lindsay and her brother when she goes to visit him in prison, which I think is intentional. But having him not only be a person who can't hear, but also, having that like no music put behind that scene, just kind of sitting with this conversation, really like making you like tune into the movie. I thought that was really well done and really effective. I'm trying to remember what the brother's name was. I think it was Justin.
Hmm.
Yeah, played by Russell Harvard.
It's a bit of
And
a like they sneak it up on you too, because there's that
yeah,
whole scene where he's like, "Your brother's dead." And he's like, "No, he's not dead. He's in prison." And it's like kind of a surprise. You'd kind of
yeah,
assume he's out of the picture, but he's out of the picture in a different way.
yeah, I thought that was really great. And I like that the movie doesn't really like uh, it makes you sit with it all, which is tough at times. Hearing um, James talk about the death of his family in the car accident, that it was his fault. Hearing her talk about the trauma, which is just a reminder of how far I think medicine and psychology has come in terms of like dealing with people post a trauma. The fact that the
Yeah,
doctor was just like, tell me exactly what happened, like tell me
yeah.
I was like, that this is so unethical.
McKinley
But
Henderson, he's always
yeah,
great.
but
Stephen McKinley Henderson.
15 years later would be handled hopefully much differently. But yeah, I thought the movie was just overall really like thoughtful and well done, but like you said, a small movie, so maybe not a ton to dig into beyond the surface.